This week of the Cookie Jar, we will be embarking on the topic of furries, a community that is usually ostracized and shunned by society for simply having an interest in anthropomorphic animals. So, why do these people feel the most comfortable expressing themselves in this way? Like, is it simply a harmless form of self expression, or is there something a little bit more to it? Is it a little bit sinister? Or is it like, a little bit more sexual, or whatever the case may be? It's quite intriguing because furries are constantly looked down upon, and why? So it begs the question, how are these people in their day-to-day lives? How are they? Most of them are amongst us, and we can't even tell because in the end they're just people just like us. So today we're gonna find out a little bit more about the furry fandom with today's guest. So if my guests can go ahead and introduce themselves.
Well, my name is Hart. Um, I'm just a 26-year-old guy. Just a normal dude, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is there any particular pronouns you would like to go by during this interview?
It's he, him. He, him.
Perfect. We can work with that. We can work with a he, him easily. So, how are you feeling today? Are you a little bit nervous?
Little bit.
It's okay to be a little bit nervous, okay? Don't you worry. So, hello there, Mr. Hart. As I can see, you're very much a furry, no?
I mean, what gave it away?
Like that shirt you're wearing. Definitely like furry vibes.
Yeah. Turtlenecks are such furry attire.
Exactly. You're just trying to hide the fur. Anyway, so we're gonna start you off with like an easy question. So, when did you become a furry?
So I guess I started using I never was a furry, right? And I started using furry avatars on VR chat like summer 2023, just because I hated the e-boy avatars. I didn't really call myself a furry until I made my Nova Beast.
Oh, really? So why weren't you using the furry label, if you don't mind me asking?
It didn't mesh with me quite yet. Like, I just used the avatars because I hated the e-boys, but like they didn't really speak to me the way that this one does.
I see. Do you think that's like a common trend with furries not really labeling themselves as a furry at first because they feel like some form of shame to it?
For sure. I think that furries get a really bad rap, so it's not really something a lot of people are open to discussing.
I mean, it makes sense, especially with how society usually tends to treat furries. So I'm sure it took you a while to take upon that label.
Yeah.
So, which makes me ask you this next question. What made you a furry? You said you didn't want to use e-boy avatars in VR chat. Was that just it because you didn't want to use those avatars, or was there something more appealing to like a furry model?
They're cute.
Yeah, they are really cute.
Cute. And I don't know, I feel like the anime avatars are like, even the e-boys in the anime, it's just, there's so much of them. And they all kind of look the same on VR chat. So I thought it was interesting how different all the furry avatars can look.
So basically, e-boys are just like one in a million, but furries are they're just way better overall in terms of models.
Yeah.
I mean, I can respect that. As someone who does use VR chat herself, when do you ever see me pull out anime girl model? Barely.
True. Yeah, e-boys are like the 2007 Nissan Altima of avatars.
You hear to hear chat. E-boys, they just ain't it. It's all about furries.
They're just everywhere and they crash a lot.
Exactly. They're useless. So, How did you kind of discover that about yourself? Like, how did you discover you were a furry?
Um, I guess it was the majority of the furry community is like really accepting of people, however they are. And so I didn't really feel the compulsion to mask my personality as much when I'm like hanging out with other furries.
I see, I see. So, I guess that begs the question, does being a furry help you express yourself more?
I think so, because I guess if you think about it, right, like everyone kind of makes like a judgment on who you are when they see your face, right? And because my character is kind of like, I made it myself, it's kind of a representation of me. I'm able to kind of show people myself in a way that I want to be seen rather than them making their own judgments.
You know what?
Like,
That makes a lot of sense. I'm sorry, I cut you off. Like, what?
no, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
But you're not wrong. Like, usually a lot of people try to find connections by visually seeing something, especially when it comes to like a human face. Like, people want to see that so they can make a judgment. But a lot of people could be really harsh on those judgments. So, basically, being a furry in a way is just a way to kind of like protect yourself from those judgments as well, right?
Yeah.
I think that's a sweet way to put it. As you do know, as my guest does know ahead of time, we are going to be doing some more controversial questions. But before we dip our toes fully in, we're going to hit him with some silly questions so we get to see more of that silly personality come out of him. So, Mr. Hart, do you have a furry crush? If so, who?
I mean, way before VR chat, you're growing up as a kid. Fucking Lola Bunny.
Of course, it's Lola
Of
Bunny.
course. And then I forget the character, Maxine. I forgot her name, and as soon as I started thinking about it,
From the
Maxine
Goofy
from a
movie?
Goofy movie. Yeah.
Oh my god.
I mean, just look at her. She's a little bookworm. Just all shy. It's great.
Oh, Roxanne. Her name's Roxanne. I was like, Maxie.
Roxanne. Yeah, there you go.
I mean, Max was pretty
Roxanne.
cute, though, so.
Shit. I swing both ways.
Oh, you swing both ways? What?
What?
What? Oh, okay. He's dropping some lore right now, so. But yeah, you basically just did like the classic furry answer of like Lola Bunny was my crush, and those two deny it that they had a crush on Lola Bunny and they're not a furry. That's some furry tendencies. I'm just saying. So, Mr. Hart, are you ready for the controversial questions, the spicy ones?
Cancel me. Let's go.
Cancel you? We're about to cancel you good, honey. We're gonna cancel you hard right in front of the live on Twitch. Here's the most hard hitting one. What's appealing about the furry fandom to you? Oh my god.
Oh my god. Cute animals.
Cute animal.
No, honestly, it's the artistry. Like, so many different species, and within those different species, like everyone has like their own custom like version of like their own persona, and like all the artists that do commissions and draw artwork. Like, there's so many talented people. It's just such a great place for the artistic expression and autistic expression.
Autistic expression. Definitely. Like, I think furries are very creative, especially the ones I've gotten to know. Damn, they have skills that I'm just like, how? Where did that come from? But that's because like I like to say like doing animal anatomy is a lot more difficult than doing like human anatomy. There's just so much more colors to animals rather than there is to humans.
Yeah. And like even like the bodies, like what is it, digitrade legs? Oh my god. How do
So,
you even?
I have no idea. Like some people are just like there's something special, that's for sure. So, there's just a thing that's been thrown around a lot, actually. It's been thrown around quite a bit, especially when it comes to furries. Because, furries are really adorable. At least I find them really cute, especially since they look like mascots, like in IRL, especially. They're really adorable. And guess who else would find them adorable? Kids. So, do you think kids should even be around furries at all? Or you think they should stay away?
That's that's tough.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think things like conventions, if they're like an all ages conventions, I think that's fine. The problem is the people who can't okay. So there's a lot of people that are neurodivergent in the furry community,
Mm-hmm.
which means, maybe they don't have the best social like behaviors or like a concept for time and place. I think that's the issue with the kids is when those people don't realize that this is not the time or the place for certain things. Like some people's fursuits have like harnesses and things, and while that's not like inherently sexual, mm, I mean, it's kind of it does kind of lean towards like the BDSM side of things,
Mm-hmm.
and exposing kids to that is gross.
It's basically like what we touched upon just a little bit ago, like how some people treat furries as like a kink, and it's not always so like super wholesome either.
Yeah, I mean, like there's definitely like you said, like mascots, and I'd say 99% of the time, people's fursuits are higher quality than any mascot suit. Like some of these suits could put Disney to shame.
Oh yeah, and
And
Disney sometimes does a commission furries to do some of the stuff. Like I'm pretty sure the Judy Hopps and the Nick Wilde fursuits were made by furries.
that wouldn't surprise me. But because yeah, just a giant like cuddly fox or something. Like what kid wouldn't want to give that a hug?
Yeah, because it looks so cute, but there is dangers as well. Because stranger danger. You just don't know
Yeah,
who's under
stranger
that
danger.
suit.
Yeah.
So no, that makes sense. So, do you think furries, or more specifically, do you think minors should be involved in the furry fandom? Like, should they have their own personas? Like, should they be like an active part of it?
I think I'm very on okay, so for like VR chat, right? I think age gating would be a really great thing to add because I don't think kids shouldn't be, or kids or minors, I don't think they shouldn't be allowed to be furries. But I think maybe separating the kids from the adults would be a good thing.
I think so as well. I don't think it's ever like really appropriate to mix like kids and adult spaces. It's just you just never know. Like even if all the
Yeah,
adults are super wholesome, you just don't know what can come from it.
yeah,
So no, that makes sense. So yeah, like I do believe so as well that minors can have their own personas. They can explore the furry community, but when it starts getting to adult stuff, I think that's where there should be like a hard gatekeep. Like absolutely not. Like until your appropriate age.
yeah.
Here's a question for you. How do you think media representations have influenced like the general public's eye of furry community? Do you think like these portrayals of the furry fandom are fair or even biased to a point? Like, do you think it's been like basically almost construed because of how public media represents furries?
I mean, with any like group of people, like it doesn't matter what that group represents, any group of people, there's gonna be a very loud minority of people in that group that do horrendous things, and the media's gonna talk about that. They're not gonna talk about the good stuff. and the furry community has some pretty atrocious things in it. Not like deep down, like there's a basement to the furry community, and then there's like a second basement under it where we keep those people
Damn,
locked away.
that's like the
Like,
dungeon.
yeah, like there's some people down there, and unfortunately, they're allowed to go out in public, and they're
Oh
allowed to
yeah.
go to conventions and do
Ugh.
terrible things.
Yeah, like awful things. You know who's awful things like that? Have you heard of carpet sample?
All right, I'm gonna head out.
I mean, you're like, oh god. Let's tell a little story to chat actually. So, this is very relative to the question, especially like when it comes to media representations, when it comes to public perception of the furry community. There is a man known as Carpet Sample. He's been pretty much off the radar for a long time now. Long time now. Essentially, he is a man that would his fursuit would be made up of plushies, a bunch of different plushies. And you're like probably thinking, what's the harm in that? It's just plushies. That sounds pretty cute. The problem is, these plushies were plushies that he would have relations with, and he wouldn't wash them, and then he would put it all over his fursuit. So he reeked like a sewage. Like he smelled horrendously. Keep in mind, I will not be showing any pictures. And I will advise you if you look him up, he looks atrocious. It's at your own risk. He is definitely he's something, and he is very infamous in the furry fandom because not only that, he was everything wrong with the furry fandom. Um, like animal, like dogs, like dogs. That's all I'm gonna say. Like dogs.
He kind of, I'm not gonna lie, when I look at him, he kind of reminds me of like Springtrap.
Oh god, yeah, because he looks like a freaking monstrosity.
It's terrible.
Oh god, like yeah, because like those are the things that the media catches on to, and that's unfortunate because it's just so loud and so smelly. So I'm not surprised by that, and I'm sure neither are you. Like
No.
that reaction you gave me is what most furries do give me as well. They're like, "Oh god." Now, speaking of like old schools and like perceptions not changing, like what do you think contributes to like the stigmas of the furry community? Like what do you think the furry community does that it's just like you're not helping us?
The freaks. And not like freaky, like, not freaky. This is like the freaks, like the weirdos. The ones we keep in the dungeon.
Like carpet sample.
Carpet sample, yeah. Baby furs.
Oh my god. Baby furs. You want to talk about baby furs? Hold up. So, Mr. Hart, how do you feel about diaper furs? And kind of give us a little bit of like a story. Like, what is a diaper fur?
All right, so all the diaper furs, we need to put them in a box and then throw that box into the Marianas Trench with like 20 tons of titanium sealing the box.
Now, what is a diaper fur though? Like people are just hearing that. It's like, what, a furry wearing a diaper? Like, what is it?
Yeah, no, it's a furry that wears a diaper, and unfortunately, these people do go to conventions like that, and they use the diapers, and it's horrendous.
So you're basically saying like they should just take off the suit and just use the bathroom.
Yeah, no, that's not even it. It's like it's not like they wear the diaper under the suit. Like the suit has a diaper. They they have a
Yeah.
diaper.
It's
It's
it's something. It's something to see.
Yeah, I
It,
mean, if I ever witness it with my own eyes, I might try to find like the nearest source of bleach and dump it in my eyes
damn.
just to cleanse them.
So to all
I would
you
rather never see again.
So to all you diaper furs out there, don't get near Heart because if not he's gonna go blind. He's gonna go blind. So diaper furs are just a no-go. And I think diaper furs are also, I'm not sure if diaper furs or baby furs are the same, but baby furs are like,
It's like the
they,
extreme end of it.
yeah, it's just they act like they role play, they age play. It's just all
I mean,
that.
yeah.
It's it can get messy real quick. So that's not something we're gonna get too into because this one already wants to throw the diaper furs into the trenches. So
Yeah. Age play is another. Yeah, that's gross. Let's dump all them in the box too.
So what would you say to people who are furries, especially some of the younger ones, like they're getting like so much hate for it? Like what would you say to them to kind of like give them in terms of advice?
I mean, I don't want to be like, I don't want to say you shouldn't be yourself, but especially when you're younger, like as an adult, I have the advantage of like, I'm in my own home. I can kind of do whatever the fuck I want,
Hmm.
say whatever I want, and like, if I don't like how someone responds to it, I could just block them. Like, I don't have to interact with you if I don't want to. Like, I can just get rid of you.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, for kids, like if you're in school, you're gonna get bullied if if you are open about certain things. And I mean, I don't know.
It's a difficult thing to give because like you don't want to tell them to like, oh, just hide that about yourself because that's like unfair to them. it's
Yeah,
it's just sad. Like they shouldn't be shamed in the end. Like I don't think it's a big deal to be like, oh, I'm a furry, and then like people be like, ew, like for what?
yeah. That again. That's kind of why I think like age gated like platforms are a good idea to give kids, especially like a safe space to be themselves away from like school.
Oh, for sure, because school, oh god, school is like a whole other topic.
Oh yeah, God. If I was a furry when I was in school, I wouldn't tell a person, not a soul.
Because I can only imagine what they will
Yeah,
say.
I say that, but I was a brony and I had a brony backpack.
You know what? Listen, there's no shame about that. You know how I feel about bronies. I love my bronies.
I had the
I
fucking Pinkie Pie earbuds. At one point.
Oh, that is so cute. Oh, I would have loved to see that. I guess like just touching base on that real quick. Like I guess I'm in a similar boat because I love My Little Pony, and I actually had like I would say it openly at school that I was like a Pegasus or a brony. But like when a guy would do it, they would get like looks at. But I guess that also relates to the fact I probably wouldn't have said I was a furry because the amount of kids in that school that would have been like, ew, you're a freak then. Because there was a girl who was actively open as a furry and she would get bashed on. And I felt so bad because I was like, what the heck? And that was actually one of my first experience with furries because she was openly getting bashed on for it. And she would make these fur heads. Like, it was just unfortunate. It was really sad to see.
Yeah. I think it's a lot worse now though. Like yeah. Things weren't great. Like yeah, people looked at me weird because I had a My Little Pony backpack, but no one like bullied me. No one tried to beat me up. Like
Well, good,
but
damn.
these days, like you might get jumped. Like it's less like a worry about like people judging you and like honestly just like a physical safety thing.
I mean, these kids are vicious now. Like, this generation is kind of scary, especially with all their brain rot. Damn.
Yeah. That's so weird how it's so different. Like they can be like the most like horrendous, like violent, mean, vicious people, and then the most brain rot head empty, like NPC behavior. Like
This
the iPad kids talking about skibbity toilet and shit. Like,
Oh my god.
Jesus, dude.
Oh god. Ew, don't hydrate time. But oh my god. I don't even want to discuss that. That's a whole thing that I don't want to get into. So, Heart, do you have any final words to say, to share towards the end of the interview before we open to the audience for questions?
I love you all so much. You're all great.
Aww.
Not just the people that I brought here, but Cookie's community. Because again, like, you're the reason I started streaming, but the support that your community provided, like, was insane.
Oh, that's sweet. I'm glad. And we love you as well. Thank you so much for coming out on here and being with us. Like, you didn't have to, but hey, you're here. Even though, if you guys don't know, Heart is sick. He got the sicky boy voice right now. So he's really pushing himself to be here, to be the first guest. So, and he doesn't have it easy. I'm pretty sure you said you have like an infection in your tonsils, no?
Yeah, it's a viral infection. My tonsils are fucked up. I've got a sore throat. I've got headache. I've got shortness of breath, so it hurts to breathe. But we here. I'ma always come out for the queen.
Aww. So I think we guys should definitely spam those hearts for him, because like he's putting himself out here and he's like dying. He just got off of work too, and he just still decided to get on here and be the guest. So he killed it. He did very well.
Thank you.
That sums up the interview, guys. So that is a wrap on the very first episode of the Cookie Jar, because you know that is how the cookie crumbles after all. Tell us your socials. Where can we find you?
The easiest place to go is blvckhvrt.card.co. It's got all my socials on it. Otherwise, you could just look me up. It's either Blackheart or Blvckhvrt TTV.